Hi, everybody. It's Chris Bowen. I am excited today. We're going to be talking to Bill Swavely. Bill is the CIO of EmVenio Research. And my name is Chris Bowen. I'm the founder and CISO of ClearDATA. It's going to be a great show today. We're going to talk about not only what Bill's doing and helping to solve healthcare problems. We're also going to talk about some of the happenings in Washington, D.C. over the past couple of weeks that impact the healthcare industry. So prior to leading EmVenio, Bill was the CTO at ACOS MD. It was a virtual primary care company. And he was also the CIO at Farm Olam International, a clinical research organization. I'm sure you had interesting budgets there, Bill, as you were trying to recruit clinical research participants. Always lots of money in that game. Bill's also led teams at healthcare companies for decades. He's been a leader in the space. He's legendary in the healthcare world. Bill, welcome. Excited to have you.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it, and very, very kind introduction. Thank you.
You can pay me later on that, Bill. Appreciate that. So let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, get some of the bureaucratic stuff out of the way. In Washington, D.C., there's a couple of things that have been going on that have been relevant. We are privy to the latest draft of the cybersecurity strategy from the White House. They've been talking about some things near and dear to my heart. We watched a Senate committee hearing by the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. They had some interesting topics on that. We heard from one of the witnesses talking about why patient records were so valuable. And the interesting thing that we've all been talking about for years is it's invaluable because it's permanent. The patient record has no shelf life. You can use it forever. And it's so rich and so full of data that it's no wonder it's so valuable in the dark web, in the black market. So we heard a little bit of that. We heard about the skills shortage. I mean, that's been happening for a long time now, and the rural areas of the country, those that I think, Bill, you serve some of these folks in areas that are in need and kind of disadvantaged from an economics perspective. We talked about, or the Senate hearing talked about some of the proactive versus defensive efforts to fight against those who attack our healthcare system. I was excited to hear about that. For once, getting away from defensive only to bring in the offense to try to score some points. Bill, any of those topics sound interesting to you as a leader in the healthcare space?
Yeah, definitely, Chris. So, in my perspective, especially in the realm of protecting patient data, and not just patient data, but my fellow employees, investors, anyone else who's associated with the company, it's great to hear that there's federal mandates and federal sources to help embolden, help protect the infrastructure that we have today. As you know, Chris, it's all too easy for those who want to do us harm to trick us, get access. Every day you read about a breach or some other security, problem with a company, and after a while, I think people become numb to it, which is kind of the wrong response. Having the government kind of step in and say, no, this is important to us. We're gonna make the market forces, focus on security and resilience, and make sure that we're investing in an infrastructure that's top shelf. I think it's something that is overdue, quite frankly, and I think it's something that hopefully will help us in our missions to keep our constituents and our colleagues and customers safe.
Yeah, it was fascinating to hear the dialogue, Bill. I was excited to hear some of the senators say, "Are we doing enough? Do you need more resources to fight some of these nation states as they attack the healthcare industry?" And while certainly talk is cheap, it was also interesting because certainly actions speak louder than words, as you know. But it was interesting to see how each senator on that committee tried to personalize this whole issue around these breaches, really making it a personal thing. Our own Senator Sinema, talked about the Yuma breach of 700,000 victims. Uh, Several others on the committee had similar stories to tell. These breaches are very personal. They're very, very personal. It's a pattern that we're starting to see, and you can probably look this up and validate my claims here. But you're starting to see some of these ransomware gangs start to go less on the ransomware and actually start going directly to the individual contained in a database, which is a terrifying thing if you think about it. They're pulling out this playbook of quadruple extortion, and we're seeing some of these threat actors starting to do this, and it's actually something that's very, very serious. We're hopeful that Washington can help us in a way that works. Coming back to Washington for a second on this bill, the cybersecurity strategy from the White House really came out with 5 pillars. Number 1 was defend critical infrastructure, of which healthcare is part of that. Number 2, dismantle and disrupt threat actors. I love that idea. You mentioned shape market forces to drive security and resilience. That's a really good one. Invest in a resilient future and forge international partnerships. I've got my own opinions on some of these, Bill. One of them, of course, is the disrupting and dismantling of threat actors. Any of these are resounding to you or speak to you in a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, I think, to me, together, I think together they create a cohesive strategy that actually gives us a multi-point approach. And as you stated earlier, the fact that we're not just going on the defense, but kind of going on the offense with our own capabilities to try to disrupt and topple some of these, outside actors and regimes, and most of them are not very resilient themselves. So I think that if we put some effort into it and put some focus around it, I do believe that we could change the game a lot. But having market forces kind of be mandated to drive security and resilience, to make sure that we don't do what's just good enough, but what really is a best effort to protect data, protect people, build trust. I mean, we mentioned building trust. That's one of the biggest things I think that today is missing, and one of the reasons why I'm excited about what we're doing at EmVenio, because it's really about building trust and integrity and making sure that you do what you say you're going to do, especially when it comes to privacy and compliance.
Yeah, and let's get into that for a second, Bill. I'm impressed by your mission. Why don't you share with us what you guys are doing and what your mission is, and specifically around some of these underserved areas, which is, I think, kind of your focus.
Sure.
I want to hear what all this means. Tell us what it means.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I'm very, very excited about what we're doing, and getting to build this from scratch and do it the right way, as I say. But we are a clinical trial site business, and so essentially that's the part of the clinical trial that meets with patients, runs them through whatever the protocol is, administers the drug or the medical device or whatever is under the clinical trial test process. We randomize, which means we provide placebo to double blinded. The patient doesn't know, the physician doesn't know, but at the end of the day, it's all to make sure that we show a statistical value of the medication. What's different in our model is we are a community focused, community site based company. And what that means is we bring the clinical trial to the area. And in our case, we're focused on underserved areas of populations that normally would not get access to a clinical trial does not have the funds or the economic advantages in some cases, or just doesn't have the education about what a clinical trial is and how it could benefit them and provide them with more life in the case of many of these therapies and processes. And it's multi-pronged in that, one, we build trust in the community. We have people that actively work with community leaders, church leaders, whatever the local community leadership organizations are. And we also bring clinicians and other support staff in from these areas as well. So it's not just working with patients, it's building a culture, building a community, and really investing and driving together to build that trust and that cohesiveness. With that, we have some pretty unique ways of getting that access. One is we have what are essentially recreational vehicles, RVs, that have been turned into full doctor's offices with all of the amenities you would expect when you go into a doctor's office, that are fully connected, via cellular and wireless technologies, but ultimately secure. And we bring that RV right into that community, so folks don't have to travel, that they can get to the facility as easy as possible. Once the vehicle is in that location, we tend to keep it in that location and stay there a while, although we have the possibility of moving. But it's really, one of the things I tell people when it comes to my role. I've got two major areas that make up a CIO. One is keep our data safe. That means our patient data, our employees, our investors, that's key, and making sure our customers trust that we're doing that. The second is make it as easy as possible for our customers, our patients, and our employees to work. And reducing the burden to people in communities, and making it as easy as we can for them to participate and join clinical trials and become educated and learn what we can offer them, is just a really exciting opportunity. And when you're doing something like this, it just the passion drives you, as well as the excitement of the technology and building something new.
Bill, I can hear the passion in your voice, and I'm excited for your mission in this new adventure. If you will. We've worked with each other for now 3 companies. Can you believe that? 3 companies.
I know.
It's crazy.
Can't get rid of me.
I can't. We don't want to get rid of you. So coming back to trust for a second, technology and trust. That's an interesting dynamic duo, if you will. I would lean more into the controls help build the trust. Transparency helps build the trust as well. If you think about a normal human relationship, a data breach could destroy that trust in milliseconds.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on how to best prepare for that? How to best prevent that? Any kind of partnerships that you want to talk about, or technologies that have helped you? Love to hear some of those stories from the tech front lines, if you will.
Sure. It's varied from, different roles. I've been pretty fortunate because I've gotten to play in a lot of different challenging and in some cases unique healthcare offerings. But, I remember, stacking and racking 7U servers and Cisco switches and firewalls to, today having a complete cloud infrastructure, which, I'm excited that ClearDATA can be a partner and actually make, the confidence I have in what we're building, and knowing that ClearDATA is not only keeping me safe, but also preventing my team from doing things in that environment that could potentially be an exposure or a risk or what have you because of the active monitoring that you guys do, because of the hardened VMs and hardened services that you provide versus getting them off the Azure or AWS list. It takes a lot of when I talk about making it easy for customers, I mean that's kind of what you're doing for me. You're making it easy because I understand the value and the resilience that these components add. And with that, that helps me kind of carry that and provide that same level of trust and resilience to my community, my patients, my or participants as we refer to them, our employees, our investors, and just feel really good that when I looked at someone in the eye and say we're going to keep your data private, I've got a great case of evidence in 3 companies now to say yeah we're going to do that.
Well, we'll continue to do our best to make that happen for you, Bill, and we appreciate your mission, what you're doing. Clinical research is a big deal, especially when those who don't have access to a trial that could help save their life potentially. Giving them that is what a mission. What a mission. I mean, congratulations on this new adventure. We appreciate you being here to share some of those stories. Looking forward to continuing to stay to work with you in this company. Stay a while. Stay for this one. I think this one's a good one for a while.
This one's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I work with some incredible people who all share the same mission. We're all looking at the same finish line together, and we're trying to get there, as a team. And it's a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding. But I really thank you for the opportunity to talk to you all about it.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you come back sometime, and to all of you out there, thank you for tuning in and watching the show or listening to the show. And you'll keep up the great work, and we'll do our best as well to make sure that you guys stay safe and compliant and secure. So thanks again. Appreciate all your work.
Thank you, Chris.